That's better. Less offensive.
Hey, we are live. And the first words you heard was less offensive from Kate. I don't know what that was.
Well, the camera was very kind of, like in there, wasn't it? It was a real zoomed shot. I didn't think the guys would quite like to see that. It's been a long week already, hasn't it?
I would have thought after all these many moons of being on Zoom and StreamYard, you got used to looking at yourself on camera, Kate.
I do, but I just think there's degrees of focus and closeness, isn't there, that just doesn't need to be seen.
So for those of you that are watching live, let us know that you're here. Just say hi. Just let us know that you're here. Let us know that we're not talking to ourselves. So just say hi, hello, we are here. And for those of you wondering, that backdrop behind Kate is actually a live backdrop. People think we've got a recording of Dawn and David there working away in the background. It is actually a real backdrop. They are real people and they are really there. So anything could happen. All right, guys, we are here talking today about profit matters. So we're here talking about how can we generate more profit in your business and why does it matter? Now, I've been in the game 30 years now. So I've been letting agent for 30 years, franchisor. We now run white label property management center and also Agent Rainmaker. So we help agents increase their business and grow their revenue and grow their profit. And so I think it's fair to say, I was Arla president as well in the midst of all that.
Oh, throw that in there.
I'm just a Two-Comma Club winner as well. So honestly, I've been there and done that and got the t-shirt and the scars and everything that goes with it. But over the years, one thing that's really fascinated me is that a lot of letting agents don't really focus on the purpose of the business, which is making money. The focus tends to be so much on being a great letting agent and, generating more lets and getting more move-ins and keeping landlords happy and all that sort of thing, but less so about actually making the profit. Kate, this is a mystery, isn't it? It's really weird.
It is. And having been obviously in this industry about 20 years now, although I can't claim to be a president of anything, to be honest with you, but you tend to get sort of wrapped up into it in your branches and in your area, in your patch, because it all becomes about market share. It all becomes about, what agent you are, a number in your town, how many boards you've got off, the properties you've got off each other, those kind of things. And you start to lose focus, don't you, on actually the reason why you want to take on more properties is because you want to make more money. And because the pursuit of kind of market share overshadows the pursuit of profit, which is the only reason why people set up business in the first place, is a vehicle for, for life and to make money and that kind of thing. But it does get overshadowed, doesn't it?
It does, and it's really interesting. And I've actually got two hats. And with those two hats, what I do is I say, this is the letting agent hat. And this is the one we start off with. We all set dreams and goals that we're going to be the most amazing letting agent. But actually, in reality, we're setting up a business, and that bit gets a little bit lost in the mist. Why is that? Well, part of the reason I think is that having run numerous businesses in different sectors, that letting agency is so complicated. I mean, 30 years in the game, we've managed literally thousands and thousands of properties. It is so complicated. 170 pieces of legislation, deregulation at HHSRS, homes and fitness standards, all these different things around CPR and BPR and GDPR and advertising standards agencies all come into the mix, as well as the Immigration Act. And the list just goes on and on and on and on. And we have to know everything about that. It's like, when do I have time to think about profit? And do you know what? At the end of the day, we have to, because I think really the last 18 months has taught us all that, sometimes world events can take over. And my husband has a great saying with this. He says, when the tide goes out, we find out who's been swimming naked. And it's a great saying, because obviously when you want to ride through these sort of challenges, if you've got cash in the bank and you've got some profit behind you, then it all becomes a lot easier. So we decided that we're going to focus on profit. And over the last couple of years, we've had a little secret mission that we've been, well, it's not that secret, I've been telling quite a few people, but we've had a little mission on, and that was to help agency as a model, as an industry, to increase their profitability. And I set myself a goal 2 years ago to see if we could get just general, normal, standard letting agents to a 50% profit margin. And the great news is we've had 4 now reach that 50%. In fact, 2 of those actually reach over 60% profit margin. Now that is absolutely amazing. So we do a little zoomy click, a well done. So well done to those guys. You know who you are. Absolutely amazing results. And so what we're going to do through this series, this is a a 6-part series all entitled Profit Matters. And over the next 6 weeks, we're going to be doing a weekly session, and we're going to be sharing with you all things that you can think about in relation to profit and how to squeeze that profit and what it means when you're making that profit. Because a lot of people don't understand the difference between profit and cash. A lot of people make a lot of profit, but they don't realize the difference between taking salary and taking dividends. A lot of people don't realize that actually a lot of things they're doing they could stop doing. A lot of things they're not doing they could do to generate more revenue as well. So we're really going to focus on that and make it important, because as business owners, Kate, we want to make more money, don't we? What can we do if we make more money?
We absolutely do. I mean, there's no end that we can do. We can serve more if we make more money, and we can give better service to our customers. We can give a better life to the staff we have in our offices. We can have more time with our family, or less time with your family, whatever it is that you might want. But it gives you that vehicle for freedom to do what you want. And this whole thing about playing smarter, not harder, is really, really important to value. I would rather have less quality and better playing clients and then, you know, twice as many just because the market share says so, that would make me more successful. Surely success should be based on profit rather than, you know, quantity. And I think looking at that over the next 6 weeks worth of series is going to be really important for agents, just to change their mindset on this.
Absolutely. As they say, life is about the journey. It's not about the destination. If you enjoy your work because you've got nice offices, nice surroundings, if you can have fun with your staff because you can afford to take them out and have fun with them, you can afford to really focus on that training and development of your team. You can really serve your customers and give them, or perhaps take some of your customers out as well. Everything becomes a lot easier. And then when you start doing stuff for charity, and I've been working with charities for years, all right, back to Prince's Trust, actually got invited to Buckingham Palace for my work with the mentorship there. We now support Promise Dreams, and we've raised, I think it was 34,000 last year, 30,000 the year before. We've just raised so much money for Promise Dreams over the years as a result of having the time, the headspace, and the ability to do that. So let's talk about Profit Matters. What sort of profit margin do we make in our industry, and how does that compare to other industries? Now, this was fascinating when I started digging into this. Absolutely fascinating, because over in America, estate agents, stroke letting agents, what we do, our industry is around the 4th most profitable industry in the US. I don't know about you, but that's like, wow. So they're like 4th. And it's just like, when you look at us, we're like down there. We're not even in the first top 30. We are way down the list on profitability stakes. And it just seems weird that as an industry, in one country, it can be in the top 4, and then another country, it's not even in the top 30. And why is that? Why is it so unprofitable in this country compared to being really profitable elsewhere? So just to put that into perspective as well, if you look at other industries, some of their profit margins are way higher than us. And one of the things, I just want to go top level thinking for a second. If you could have your time back and say, right, I'm going to set up a business, what will I set up? If you look at the profitability of industries that are out there, it seems right now in the UK, the best thing you can do is start supplying electricity, because they seem to be the most profitable sector in the UK as we stand here today. But I'm going to assume that you don't want to be supplying electricity. But if you look at some of the other companies out there, I mean, you've got like tech industries and they're 60s and 70%, supermarkets like Sainsbury's, like 43% profitability, Apple, 38% profitability. And yet, if you look at the industry norm, according to the Plimsoll report, the average profitability of letting agents in the UK is just over 10%, 10.7% or something like that. It's just over 10%. And to be fair, we've seen across the industry, 10% seems to be about the average. Why is that, Kate? What is it about letting agents that we're at 10% and yet the tech industries are at 70 and 80? What do they do so well that we do so poor down here? What do you think it is?
Well, I mean, how long have we got, really? Because the list is endless. But one of the main things, and that will be changing in the coming years, is the regulation. So ROPA looming, looking to hit around 2024, will change the industry almost certainly. I was a realtor in Canada, which again is in their sort of 40, almost 50% profitability as a country for real estate agents. Very, very high. And they are heavily, heavily regulated. And as such, they are seen as property professionals, which we all know in this country we are. There's, Sally said, the list of legislation and the hoops we have to jump through. We are. There's just no sort of governing body and regulation put into places yet. So that will change. But I think one of the main things is that letting agents as a whole don't tend tend to see themselves as business owners, as you said, Sally. And a difference between a big corporate, IT or tech company, they have those mechanisms. They have prospecting and sales and business development and marketing and all of these kind of things. Whereas in lettings, it's kind of, we've just fallen into that customer service. And customer service means that you've got a load of yes people, and saying yes to everything and not charging for it means your profit is going to go down.
Now, I'm going to share with you 5 different things you can do to squeeze some profit out of your business. But just hit a like for me. Just let me know that you're liking the talk about profit, that you're happy for us to talk to you about making profit in your business, because it's actually one of those taboo topics. And I think it's really interesting that, we go to networking events and we talk about, oh, yes, it's great, we're getting those landlords on. But we don't talk about profit. It's like it's a hidden topic. We don't talk about it. It's really, really interesting. Just hit like, let us know that you like talking about profit, and let's start talking about how we can squeeze that juice. Because one of the things that we found is the reason that letting agents versus other sectors are really not making enough profit is because it's complicated, and because they have not found a way to scale and simplify. So what we've got to do if we want to make more profit is we have to scale what we do, and we have to simplify what we do, and really make the whole process simpler. Just think about for a second, guys, how many things you've done for free, or you've gone and picked up some keys for a landlord, or you've gone and dropped something off, or you've sat and waited for British Gas, or any of those things. That's a classic example of things that we would tend to get stuck into. Which should we ask the Severn Trent if they could just pop over and drop some keys over for us, Kate? Do you think they'd do that?
Of course they wouldn't. And very, very few companies or businesses would. That's just not the way it works. And yet we've written a rod for our own back when we've talked and bounded about this whole thing of fully management. It basically means, the world and his wife. And unfortunately, we do need to change and come out of that if we want to see our profit levels change. We've got to change something.
We've got to think like big business. Would McDonald's do that? Would British Gas do that? Would the big companies use our assets, our time to go and do the thing? So let's go through the 5 P's, the 5 things that you need to do to increase the revenue in your business. Okay, guys, so we are here, just for those who've just tuned in, because there's been just a load of people just joined us. So we are here live with series 1 of Profit Matters. And today we are talking about profit matters and what is your target of profit. And so we're talking about, in the industry, what are the different levels of profit in across industries? Why is ours so low, and what can we do about it? So we've got the tech industries in the 70s, we've got the supermarkets in around the 40s, and we've got people like Apple and suppliers around the 30s and 40s as well. Why are we only lurking around 10%? So I'm going to share with you 5 P's, 5 things you can do to really focus on that profit. And if you like what we're talking about, just give us a like. Okay, so first of all, number 1, the first thing you need to do is to prioritize what needs to be done. Now they say, okay, Sally, I know that, but let me just explain a little bit further. What do I mean by prioritize? In any business, there is a row of things that make you money, but then there is also a line of things that don't. So what you need to do as a letting agent, as any business, you need to understand what is making you money and what is costing you money. I'll give you a few typical examples that myself and Kate have seen. So for example, finding tenants, letting properties, moving them in, collecting the rent, doing the maintenance, etc., is your general management process and is making you money. But is it making you money going around and helping landlords look at different properties to buy without charging them? Is it helping you by just looking at different, getting refurb quotes for them without charging for that? Maybe you've been shopping for furniture for them because they want you to get them different bits and bobs, and you've done that without charging for them. Are those things making you money? If they're not making you money, then maybe you could consider actually either charging for them, taking them out, not doing them, whatever the case may be. Just think of any other business. Your accountant, would they do an extra line of paperwork for you? Would they do an extra submission to the tax return for you? So why are we doing it? So what we've got to do is prioritize our time, because what we sell is time. And this is the most valuable commodity we have. It's the only one we can't get more of, and yet we seem to give it away. Why do we do that, Kate? Why do we give away so much of our time?
I don't think we see it like that. And I think that was for me, I remember we had this you said this to me a couple of years ago, and my mind was just like, that, you know, our commodity is time, because we see that signing someone up on a fully managed, and that's like the goal, and that's like the win, and we're not really looking at the numbers. We're not looking at what that means. We're not looking about how much time that takes. You know, there's a lot of people that don't charge enough for setup fees, or don't charge a setup fee at all. But when we've looked at it and you break it down, it takes 17 hours to move a tenant into a property, and yet we're doing that whole bit for free if you're not charging for that. So we're not looking at all the steps that it takes to get there. And as you quite rightly say, if you can put a price on your time and give yourself or your staff or the business or a company an hourly rate, then you start to think about it so differently, don't you? Because every block of time is either costing you or making you money. And if you can think like that, then you will automatically start focusing on the profit.
Absolutely. If you take your total annual costs and you divide it by 253 days, you divide it by 8 hours, that will give you an hourly cost for your business. Divide that by how many staff you've got, that'll give you an hourly staff cost, which generally is around £40 just for cost. So it's costing you £40 roughly for every staff member that you have. And if they go and spend an hour doing something that you're charging for, that's costing you money. So it's a mindset shift, guys. So start to prioritize the things that make you money and deprioritize the things they don't. Perhaps stop them or start to move them into a chargeable service. Really, really valuable stuff there. Now, number 2 of the 5 Ps is, number 1 is prioritize. The second one is all about passing on. Now, what I've seen so many times is people passing stuff to the wrong pay grade. Now, I'm going to try and explain this a little bit more. We focus on the money that's going out of the bank. We don't focus on the staff that are doing the things. We see the staff as if, well, if I do it, it's free. It's not costing me anything. Well, I'm sorry, if I'm doing it, it's costing something, because that's an hour I could be hustling. I could be creating a JV. I could be creating a new service. I could be working with a customer. I could be doing something. So if I'm doing it, there is an absolute cost to that. And so you've got to make sure that the tasks are being passed on to the right level. So question to ask yourself, have you been doing any £10 an hour tasks recently as a business owner? Have you been sorting out the keys or answering the phones or doing the actions and all those sort of things? I'll give you an example of a really silly scenario I had a little while. So it was a few years ago, but I remember it because it was so hilarious. So I had 2 guys in my accounts department at this particular time, and they were on 45 grand a year salaries each. And I'd worked out their hourly rate at the time. It was something like it was going to cost me £75 for each of their hours to be in the business. That's all of the costs of the business, everything else broken down. That was their hourly rate, £75 each. So just for simple maths, the 2 of them doing something is about £150 an hour. But anyway, they found out that they could actually buy paper for £2 a ream cheaper by going to Staples. And so they decided that the 2 of them were going to go in the car and they were going to drive over to Staples. And about an hour and a half later, they came back very proud of themselves because they saved us about £46 or something on the various reams of paper. I says, well done. You've saved us 46 quid. But how much have you spent us, guys? You've actually cost us around £225 in your time for you to go and pick that paper up. And it was like, oh, yeah. And he's the accountant guy. Scary stuff. But we do this all the time. I hear letting agents say, oh, I'm going to do the inspections myself because it's free. It won't cost anything. And I had a franchisee 10 years ago that said to me, I'm going to do all my inspections myself because it saves me money. And this woman was an amazing hustler. She was an amazing lead generator and booking valuations. And it's just spending her time doing inspections. So the key here is to pass stuff on, Kate. And letting agents tend to hold on to things, don't they? It's really important to get this stuff passed on, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I think you're absolutely right. There's people who are now using VAs and outsourcing things. And people are always talking about marketing and how they can't have time to do that. And people who are talking about, you know, a viewing company and one gentleman that we worked with was still doing all the inventories himself. Now, they were taking 3-4 hours on these big block inventories and things like that, but didn't want to spend, you know, the £45-50 to get someone in to outsource it. But it's like you say, once you start looking at that is your time, you're not saving money, you're costing yourself money. So you've got to get the right things off your desk. You've got to look at it. Should I be doing this? Is it making me money? Is it in my pay grade? And if not, you need to look down and be able to pass it to someone. Now that's a whole issue in itself because you need to have someone to pass it to, but you need to be valuing your own time. You as a business owner are the most expensive commodity in your business, and you need to value that. Your time is worth an awful lot more than getting the keys cut or heading to Staples for some reams of paper.
And absolutely, guys, give us a like if some of this stuff relates to you. If you think, I've done that, I've been there, I've done that. Let us know in the comments. Have you been out delivering paper? Tell us what crazy things you've been doing. If you've been sitting waiting for British Gas to turn up, if you dropped keys off, walked contracts around the corner, any of those things, let us know what crazy things you've done as well. We want to know. So I think it's really important to make sure that we analyze everything that we do, and we make sure that we know it's with the right pay grade, which brings us to the next thing. Point number 3 of the 5 P's is basically we need to make sure that we have a predictable business. The most profitable businesses are the most predictable businesses. So we've got to make sure that we can understand predictably what everything is going to cost. So we need to understand exactly how much does it cost us to do an inspection? How much does it cost us to organize maintenance? How much does it cost us to do viewings? Do you think that Sainsbury's knows exactly the price of every single can of beans on its shelves to the penny, how much it costs to get there, the logistics to travel it there, which shelf it's most likely to sell at, how long it's likely to stay on that, how many are going to get dropped, how many are going to get broken, how many returns? It knows to the penny. And yet if you ask most of us how much an inspection costs, we'll go, I don't know. And you'll start talking about mileage and petrol, which is not really the answer, is it, Kate?
I love this, because in any other business, when you're looking at doing a business plan, for example, and you're setting up a business and you start in any other business, manufacturing, banking, Sainsbury's or other supermarkets or anything like that, within the business plan will be a cost for everything, a cost for service, a cost per item, a cost for manufacturing, everything like that. But what we tend to do as agencies is, over time, we're going to set it up, we're going to do that, we're going to set up, we have a look at what the competitors are doing, and we just pluck numbers out the air, don't we? We say, oh, inspection, 50 quid, that sounds about right, fantastic. And then we build the whole business model around this, and they're built on out of the air fabricated figures, and they're not accurate. As Sally says, you've got to know the cost of what it takes to do that, and then you've got to add on to that, because otherwise you're just running at cost, and again, you're not going to make any profit. So you've got to find out how much time, which is our commodity, it takes to do these things, and then price accordingly.
Absolutely. So something to think about is having a report, sort of cost of services sold. So have a cost sheet for every single thing that you do, everything your staff leave the office for, everything they spend time doing. Understand the costs of that, analyze that, and then work out what you need to be charging for in order to make profit. It's something that we don't generally do, but we really do need to know. And something else to think about as well is the amount of staff that you have. And it's very easy to think, oh, I'll just take on some more staff and I'll do some more business. And I'm sure many of you have been in the position where you've taken on more staff and you haven't made more money. So it's understanding the value, the income, the sales, the profit, the income of your per employee rate, so that you understand that you've got too many staff, not enough staff, too many operational staff, not enough sales staff, and all those different things. So it is really important to make sure that you really have a predictable business model that says, if I do this, I'll make that. At the moment, it's a bit like, I'll do this and we'll see where it comes out. And that's not really where we want to be. So, okay, so we'll talk about number 3 of our 5 Ps, 5 Ps for profitability. The next one is around systemization. Now, Kate, why is this important? Why do we need to systemize? Why can't we just wing it and just do whatever we feel like doing?
I was just about to say, systemization doesn't begin with a P, Sally. What's happened there?
Not systemization.
So very, very important to have a system and a process for everything that you do in the office. Otherwise, it's just running haphazardly. You can't fine tune something or make something better if there's nothing there to start with in the first place. An office that's in chaos, if yourself is in chaos, you kind of come in the morning, you look down, it's going mad, and then you suddenly look and it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and the day's over. So you've got to have systems and processes in place. You want to get the most out of your staff. You want to get most out of every single minute of their time. The same with you and your time. You need things to be slick. You need processes. But also, if things aren't going so well, if you see a dip in profitability, if you see that things aren't working, the best way to be able to find out and identify that is if you've got those processes in place, because you can see what's happened. You can see a breakdown. You can tweak, you can change, you can adapt. If it's just a free-for-all and everyone's just kind of survival mode day by day, it's almost impossible to be able to grow and scale up and do better.
Absolutely. And also processes, what they will do for you as well is they will allow you to hire, and please don't take this the wrong way, but lesser informed staff and train them faster. So if you haven't got processes in place, you may find yourself trying to hire that really big salary so they can come and know how to do everything for you. But all I would say, after nearly over 3 decades in this industry, actually, that's almost impossible to do, because nobody does it like you do it. So it's actually easier to hire somebody that doesn't know anything about it and to train them. So we tend to hire for personality and for culture and for mindset. And then you can coach and train everything else if you've got those processes. So it's having a process for everything. The Amber next place to get to is to have a process sheet for everything that you do, even down to like loading the dishwasher and the whole shebang. You want a process sheet for everything. How do we generate a lead? Once that lead comes in, how do we convert it? How many am I expecting? What conversions am I expecting? Once I've got them through the door, what ratio will I get to applications? Once I get the applications and they moved in, what's the process for making sure everything in that file is done? We have like a 45-point checklist when a tenant moves in to make sure everything is correct in that file before the file is passed to the tenancy managers. Making sure you've got a process for renewals, for checkouts, deposit registration, deposit renewals, rental guarantee, you name it. There needs to be a process sheet for absolutely everything in your business. That is when you can say we are a fully predictable, process-driven business. It's so important, and it will make the difference between hitting 50 and 60% and waddling around in the 10, because the 10, you're going to be firefighting, you'll be crazy busy trying to do everything yourself. When a new member of staff comes in, it's like, I haven't got time to train them, I'm too busy, I need to go and do this. You're probably watching this, if this is you, thinking, I haven't got time to watch this, I need to go and do that. That is the effect of not having those processes in place. So it really will make the difference. It'll allow you to go on holiday and have time out and freedom and space and pass stuff on with confidence to know things are being done properly, rather than just a wing and a prayer, which is not the place to be, Kate.
I was going to say, the only way that you ever can get yourself out of the business as well and actually be able to work on higher level things and growth and things like that is if you have a system and a process in place that means people can step in and do the things that you're doing now. A lot of business owners that we work with and we talk to, and I'm sure some of you listening now are thinking, yeah, but it's only me that knows this. It's all up here. It's all in my head. If I'm not in the business, how will they know to do this and know to do that? You need to brain dump. You need to get it out there, and you need to put it in the system and process, so that if you were to step away out the office for a day, heaven forbid, the world would carry on without you. And likewise, if you have staffing issues, now we're in an uncertain world at the moment, that kind of thing. Sometimes people are not always able to be in the office. You will be able to get a temp in, you'll be able to get another member of staff cover a job, because everything is a step-by-step process in your business. And lettings, we're very lucky because it is a process-driven business. So you are able to do this. So definitely put that in place. And finally, if you don't, there are, especially in lettings, you can fall foul of legislation. There are issues, there are problems, which could end up costing you money. If things aren't done properly, they cost money, time, safety, all of those kind of things. And those will affect your profitability, because you'll end up with legal fees or whatever it may be. So again, make sure it's done right. And the only way to do that is a process.
Absolutely. Now, I noticed that Heather was watching us, Heather and Martin. You may have seen their video. We actually interviewed them live in the Agent Rainmaker group. I think it's also on our YouTube channel as well. Heather and Martin have actually managed to achieve 61.7% profitability, to be exact. The 0.7 is very important, says Heather, but absolutely amazing result. And they've done that through doing all the things that we've been talking about. Now, as a result of us working on getting 50% profitability as a model, what we've been doing is we've been creating a template for that. So we've been creating, what do you need to do around the marketing? What do you need to do around the conversions? What do you need to charge on your fees? What do you need to stop doing? What do you need to make sure that you are actually not running around doing stuff for free? What do you need to do in order to squeeze the juice? What additional services could you offer? What additional revenue streams could you add? Which revenue streams are the most profitable? Which revenue streams are the least profitable? And how should I construct my services to make maximum profit? This is something we've been working on since 2016. So it's 5 years in the making now. And we're going to be sharing all of this a little little event that we're running in September called Agent Rainmaker Live. Now, you may have heard of Agent Rainmaker Live. It's the event for letting agents here in the UK that want to grow. So it's an event totally focused on business growth, on business income and business strategy. This year, it's going to be focused all around profit. So we're going to be spending a whole 3 days focusing on how you can add 10, 20 or 30% profitability to your business. We're going to be interviewing and speaking to the guys that have achieved 50 and 60% profitability. And these are small businesses, guys. They're not massive businesses. We're going to be looking at how they did that, what they did, what they changed, how they went through it emotionally and how they dealt with it mentally. We're covering all those different things. So we're going to be covering lead generation. We're going to be covering systemization, productization. We're going to be covering additional service, additional revenue streams, how to squeeze the juice, how to reduce costs, how to lower costs, how to identify the profitable and non-profitable income streams as well. So it's going to be an absolute rip-roaring day. I hope you can join us. We've actually got some tickets available on the site here, agentrainmaker.live. We normally get about 250, 300 letting agents there, and it's an environment where everyone wants to share and everyone wants to talk and everyone wants to help and support each other. All going to be very COVID secure, so don't worry about that. We'll be keeping you safe. But it is going to be an amazing 3-day event, absolutely, totally focused on profit. So guys, if you're coming along, let us know. Just put in the chat, I'm coming, I'm going to be there. We want to hear from you. It is going to be a phenomenal event. As you may have seen some of the videos, there's loads of videos out at the moment, Agent Maker Live last time, which was 2019. Can you believe that was only 2 years ago? That is just shocking, isn't it?
We missed it last year, didn't we? Obviously weren't able to run it, and it is our favorite event of the year. We do run some amazing events, but Agent Rainmaker Live is definitely our favorite event of the year. And this year, as Sally says, our theme is #Profit Matters, and we will be focusing on those 3 days about how you can maximize the profit in your business. And Heather and Martin, they were saying they'll be there. They will indeed. It's going to be it will be on stage and talking about obviously how they did this and how you can do this too, because we're seeing a trend now in the industry and in our community of more and more people are getting up there and getting to higher figures, 20, 30, 40% profit and above. And there's no reason why you can't do that too. So let us show you, and it'll be a great 3 days, a fantastic 3 days. I can't wait.
Well, I mean, we've got some amazing stories, but 3 days focused on profit. As a business owner, is there any event that will be more profitable for you to go to? Probably not. And very specific to the industry as well. So we are so excited about that. We really cannot wait. And a nice hotel as well, Kate, isn't it?
Gorgeous. Yeah, we've upgraded the hotel for those of you there last year with the beautiful Marriott this year, which is just stunning. We all feel like we need a bit of pampering and a bit of looking after and all of that kind of thing. We've got some amazing sponsors and exhibitors. We've got our awards dinner we're doing on the Saturday evening because we do hand out awards. So if you have hit that 50% profit, guys, there's an award for it. You can enter. So please do look at that as well. It really is going to be wonderful.
It's going to be amazing. So what is number 5 of my 5 Ps? All right, the final 5 of the 5 Ps, let me check my list so I don't give you the wrong one again, is to plan. It's about having that plan to get there. And as I say, that's what we're covering at Agent Maker Live. But the guys is the plan is to have a plan. You need to know to get from point A to point B how you get there. Now, it's no point just whacking your fees up. That ain't going to work in isolation. A lot of people, when they go to try and make more profit, they cut costs. And in my experience, generally just doing that on its own isn't going to help, because people will feel like you're spending less. They'll see that you're spending less. You've got less staff and less good staff and all that sort of stuff. And it's not going to look good and it's not going to attract people. So the answer is actually to have a culmination of, number 1, reduction of costs, making sure that you're reducing your time, reducing your costs to a sensible level that's not going to affect your service. Next, it's about increasing revenue. It's about looking at additional services. It's about productization. It's about looking for additional revenue income streams. It's about looking for referrals. It's about increasing the revenue for the stuff that you do. It's about stopping doing stuff for free. It's about processes, making sure you're process driven, making you're systemizable, the whole shebang, and make sure you're predictable. So there's a whole raft of things that you need to do in order to get to these 50% profits. And these guys that have achieved 50 and 60%, they've been working with us for probably 2 or 3 years now. So it's taken a couple of years to get there, but it does make a massive difference. So the 5th one has got to be to have a plan. have a plan on how you're going to achieve your profitability margin. What is that plan? What is it you're going to do? Don't just whack your fees up. Don't just cut your costs. You need at least a 5 or 6 step plan on how you're going to get there. I mean, there's so many ways to get there as well. There isn't like a one-stop answer, but there is a planning process you can go through to identify what is the right thing for you and your business, and say that's what we're going to be covering at Agent Rainmaker Live. So go and grab your tickets. Make sure you're going to be there. I can tell you it's the most profitable 3 days you will ever have in your life. Tom Sohn came to Agent Maker Live in 2019. He had bailiffs at the door, bless him. His turnover was 78K. And in just 2 years of following this template, he's gone from 78K revenue to 1.3 million in 2 years. Now, that is amazing performance. I'm not saying everyone's going to do that, because that has blown us away. You know, most people only add 100 to 200K revenue. But, you know, it's got to be your plan at the end of the day. You build the plan, you live the plan, you work the plan. And at Agent Maker Live, we want to help you build that too. So this year is all about profit, Kate, isn't it? We've come out of this horrible 18-month period. We've come out the other side. We're going to focus on profit. This is episode 1 of our 6 series of Profit Matters. In the next 5 episodes, we're going to be interviewing people that have really made massive changes in their letting agency businesses and how they can grow the profit in their business. So you're going to be hearing from the horse's mouth of people that have absolutely done that, have been there, have made those changes, and have made it happen. So you're going to be hearing from us on techniques on how to grow that profit. You're going to hear from people that have actually done it, how they've done it, and you're going to learn how you can squeeze your profit. We're going to bring it out into the open and start talking about that thing that people don't like to talk about, and that is profit. Have you enjoyed this, guys? If so, give us a like, share this if you wish, make a comment, whatever you want to do. Let's get it out there. Let's get profit from behind the backroom boys and get it out in the front, and let's start talking about it. Let's stop being down there in the lower 30% quartile of most profitable industries in the UK. Let's change it, and let's beat the Americans, and let's get up to like the top 4 in the UK for industries to be most profitable. That's my goal. By the time I retire, I want to get UK letting agencies into the top 5 most profitable industry in the country. That's my goal. That's what we're going for, and that's where we're going to get there. So we're going to share with you what we have learned so far in this series of 6 series of Profit Matters and 3 days of it at Agent Rainmaker Live. Anything to add, Kate, before we finish?
No, I think just let's have profit at the forefront. And as we said, this series is called Profit Matters.
Exactly what it says in the tin. I think that's the thing. Guys, we'll see you soon. See you in the next series of Profit Matters. Keep an eye on whichever platform you're on, whether you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, whatever. If you're watching on replay, whatever the case may be, you will see an announcement of the next date of, unless Kate knows when it is, you'll see an announcement of when the next Profit Matters is. Just jump in and tune in, and we will keep you posted. See you soon, guys. Bye.
Bye.